Hey, it's Liberty, and today I am starting a reading challenge. I used to love One Tree Hill. I grew up on that show, and obviously as someone who loves to read, there were lots of books referenced in that show that makes it a perfect storm for my interests. Part of the reason I love the show so much is that there were always quotes, and Lucas was always reading some kind of book. I looked for a One Tree Hill reading challenge that I could do and couldn't find one, so I thought, I will make my own. I thought if I enjoyed it, this could be something I could do multiple times, centered on different characters. So for the first one, I'm going to make a challenge based on the lead character for the first 6 seasons, Lucas Scott. I'm going to start the challenge on the 1st of August, and I'm going to sort of give myself August to complete it. You know, I have a job, I have things, you know. I don't read very, very fast like some other people do, so I'm just gonna relax with it. If you like this and want to participate along with me, then do. Let me know in the comments what books that you're reading. I'd love to see it. I'm also going to be saving the prompts for this challenge on Storygraph as well, so I'll put a link in the description if you want to add your books there. Do give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy it, and I make videos all about books, history, personality, etc. So do check those out and subscribe if you want to. So time to get into the prompts. Lucas Scott loves the Steinbeck novel. We see him reading and referencing John Steinbeck at several points. So yeah, the first prompt is whatever Steinbeck novel you would like. I'm going with The Winter of Our Discontent. It's mentioned in the show and it's been on my TBR for a while, so I thought this is the perfect time. It's Steinbeck's last novel and it won the Nobel Prize for Literature. Ethan Hawley is the main character of this novel, and he works at a grocery store that his parents, his family, used to own and no longer do. He and his family are no longer a member of the Long Island sort of aristo set. His wife is getting restless, his children are, you know, not used to not having a certain standard of living. Ethan is a honest character, he's hardworking, he has integrity. His family do not appreciate those very good qualities. However, he decides to reclaim his wealth by completely setting his moral framework aside. The world would be a better place if everybody had those really, really nice values, but I'm really intrigued by this. I've always wanted to read another Steinbeck, because I read Of Mice and Men a long time ago, as everybody does, but don't really remember it much. So the second prompt is a book with the It's Always Been You trope. Now, the bond between Lucas and Peyton in the first 6 series, it's Always Been You. I mean, he even says it at one point, I think, in the show. It's hard to know what books are going to be in this trope before reading them. So I sort of went to Storygraph to help me a little bit. There's a prompt in a reading challenge that I'm currently doing, which is all about this trope. So I had a look, see what other people have put. And I'm going with November 9 by Colleen Hoover. Now, Colleen Hoover is someone I've heard a lot about. I've never read any of her novels, and actually a friend of mine said that I should try reading a Colleen Hoover book for a video. I might have a separate dedicated video for that and read a few, but I definitely want to read November 9. The 2 main characters of this novel are Fallon and Ben. Ben is an aspiring novelist. Fallon is about to move across the country, and she meets Ben and they spend her last day in LA together, and Ben is inspired by her for his writing. They continue to meet on the same day every year whilst getting on with their own lives, with their own relationships, etc. One day Fallon really questions Ben's motives and actions, and it seems like heartbreak is on the cards for at least one of them. Yeah, I'm really curious about this, so we'll see. The next prompt is for a novel set in a small village town. Tree Hill is supposed to be a small town where everyone knows each other and, you know, roots for each other, and there's a lot of, you know, support. The town and the different landmarks of the town kind of become like a character in the show itself. And so for this prompt, any novel that sort of fits that bill is going to be good. And I'm picking Heritage by Vita Sackville West. The main character of this novel is Ruth Peniston, who is a farmer's daughter, and she has some Spanish ancestry that you can see in her visual. It's set in, you know, proximity to this great house. Obviously, you know, there were lots of farms and buildings and villages associated with like country estates, and so I feel like this fits in there. A guest at the house falls in love with Ruth, and there's also like a sort of tragic romance with another man. There's a lot going on. This is Vita Sackville West's first novel, and a lot of her own personal history goes into sort of the character of Ruth and the whole novel as a whole. She had a Spanish grandmother and also, you know, grew up in Knoll, had an amazing childhood there, so that informs this novel too. This also fits under another prompt that's coming later, so maybe if I can kill two birds with one stone with that, that'd be quite good. The next prompt is going to be a book with a sort of complex father-son relationship. Lucas and his father Dan have, well, complex is kind of only the start of it, I guess. Yeah, a complex is exactly what he inherits from Dan. The novel that I want to read, there are multiple characters that share the same father and they have a complex relationship, to say the least. It is A Nobleman's Guide to Scandal and Shipwrecks. The main character of this one is Adrian Montague. He is the third sibling. This is the third book in this series. And he's an up-and-coming writer. He's heir to, you know, the sole heir to his father's estate, and he's in love. His fiancée is an activist who, you know, like, he is very inspired by her. His life is amazing. When his mother dies unexpectedly, he sort of gets thrown off course massively. He has pretty severe anxiety, and he meets his brother Monty, who he never knew that he had any siblings. Monty's been living a quiet life in London after the events of the first two books. Together they go off on a quest for answers to questions that have sort of been thrown up by this keepsake from Adrian's mother. They decide to try and find their sister Felicity, and you know what? The gang is together, we are crossing oceans, we are having adventures. I'm very, very excited because I loved the first two books in this series. I'm curious to see how Adrian compares to his siblings. So yeah, it's going to be a good one. The next prompt is a book that features a love triangle. In the words of Nikki, who is horrible, we hate her, Lucas Scott and his women all make up an important part of the first 6 series of the show. Honestly, it infuriated me at times because personally I preferred him with Brooke, but actually, let's face it, they both deserved so much better than Lucas. But I digress. The book that I want to read for this prompt is Ross Poldark, and it's the first book in the Poldark series, which I have seen the BBC adaptation, the first few series. I haven't finished it, but I was curious about the books and I thought, perfect time. And actually, Ross Poldark and Lucas Scott have a fair bit in common, given that you sort of spend your time with them in between loving and hating them for quite a lot of it. Ross Poldark is a landowner's son in Cornwall, and he's been away in France fighting in the war, and he comes home, he's eager to reunite with his fiancée, but she's now engaged to his cousin. His father is dead, and so he has to sort of clean up the estate and the house and get his life in order. Yeah, a lot is going on. There are many books in this series. They all focus, or they're titled after a particular character. I'm not sure how it works, but I hope I will enjoy this because I enjoy the series. I was drawn to this because they try and span generations in the TV show, which obviously only works so much because you've got the same characters and they look pretty much the same age. So obviously with the book series, that storytelling is going to be much easier to sort of grasp. In honour of Lucas Scott's career, the next prompt is a book featuring a writer. Now, Lucas writes a couple of novels over the course of the series. For this prompt, any writer of any kind will do, and I am picking Beach Read by Emily Henry. There are 2 main characters in this novel, Augustus, who is a literary fiction writer, and January, who's a best-selling romance novelist. He loves to kill his characters, she loves to give them happy endings. They are staying at neighbouring beach houses, and they both have really bad writer's block. At one point they decide to sort of swap genres. January will write the great American novel and Augustus will write some romance. They take each other on these little trips in order to sort of get themselves into the headspace of the genre. It sounds cute, I'm not gonna lie. I could do with something just fun at the moment. I've heard mixed reviews about this, I'm not gonna lie, but I think I want to give it a chance, you know, it seems fun. November 9 by Colleen Hoover also fits into this, but you know, we'll see what I end up with. The final prompt is a high school drama, and for a show that spent the first 4 seasons and the best seasons of the show in high school, a sort of YA novel or, you know, adult novel set in a school is sort of the perfect prompt for this show. So many dramatic things happened in that school, it is ridiculous. For this, I'm going to read Lucky Caller. It's been on my TBR for a while and I really, really, really want to get to it this month. The main character, Nina, is in her senior year of high school. She's taking a radio broadcasting class because she thinks it's going to be easy, but when she ends up taking it, it is messy. All the students who are in the class, they don't get along, they don't have much in common. And one of them is her childhood best friend Jamie, who she vowed to sort of ignore for the rest of her life. So yeah, they get into trouble with two very big famous fandoms on the internet. Nina has some problems at home that she has to work through. Honestly, Nina's got control issues. This is what I'm gathering, and she needs to loosen the reins a little, so we will see what happens with her and that. Thank you for watching. So that was my announcement video and TBR for my One Tree Hill reading challenge. Do join me if you fancy. Like I said, I've got the prompts in Storygraph in the description. Let me know how it goes. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and I make videos all about books, history, personality, etc. So do check those out and subscribe if you want. Happy reading.